When nobody believes in your business, do not treat their doubt as the enemy. Treat it as the market giving you a cold diagnosis. Right now, your ambition may be real, but it has no evidence attached to it. No paying customer, no painful problem solved, no offer tested, no result documented. So the world does what Machiavelli understood clearly: it judges by what it can see, not by what you privately intend. The false belief is that support must come before progress. It does not. Early progress is what forces support to appear. If you keep explaining your vision, you will stay a man with plans. And men with plans are easy to dismiss. The move is simple. Find pain with money behind it. Sell before you perfect. Protect your cash. Over-deliver, document proof, and build until belief becomes irrelevant. Stop asking them to see your potential. Give them evidence they cannot ignore. But here is the question most men avoid. What if the people doubting you are not the real obstacle? What if their doubt is only revealing something colder? Not that you are incapable, not that your ambition is fake, not that your future is dead, but that your ambition has not yet been converted into proof. This is the hidden mechanism behind the entire game. The world does not reward private potential. It rewards visible evidence. Machiavelli wrote that men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. In simple terms, people judge what they can see before they understand what is true. A man may carry hunger, vision, intelligence, discipline, and pain inside him. But if the outside world sees no customer, no money, no solved problem, no useful skill, no visible signal of competence, it will not treat him like a founder. It will treat him like another dreamer with a story. And business is the most brutal arena for this law. Your family may love you and still doubt you. Your friends may say they support you and still never share your work. Society may praise ambition in public and ignore yours in private. The market may stay silent until you make ignoring you expensive. This is not personal. This is power. Before Nike was Nike, it was Blue Ribbon Sports, a small distributor of Japanese running shoes. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman were not walking around with a global empire. They did not have the myth. They did not have the symbol. They did not have the cultural power people now attach to the brand. They had a narrow market, runners. They had a product they believed could serve that market. And they had the willingness to sell before the world understood the brand. Nike's own history describes Blue Ribbon Sports as a small distributor before it became the company people recognize today. Forbes later described Phil Knight as Nike's billionaire co-founder. But that came later. The first reality was not glamour. It was movement. Shoes in front of runners. Feedback, sales, usage, proof. Nobody owed them belief. That is the part unsupported men must understand. The world does not owe belief to potential. Belief is not the entry fee. Proof is. And that is why you must stop trying to win emotional validation from people who are not your market. If you do not understand this, you will lose years. Not because you are lazy, not because you lack talent, not because you are surrounded by evil people secretly trying to destroy you. You will lose years because you will keep trying to convince people who cannot buy, cannot invest, cannot advise, and cannot understand the risk you are taking. You will explain your business idea to family members who only understand job security. You will test your confidence on friends who have no incentive to see you differently. You will ask for approval from people who are still emotionally attached to the old version of you. Then, when they doubt you, you will feel wounded. You will interpret their doubt as betrayal. You will say, "They do not believe in me." And because that sentence feels powerful, you will repeat it until it becomes your identity. That is dangerous, because doubt can sharpen you, or it can become your prison. If you keep saying, "Nobody believes in me," long enough, eventually you stop building and start performing pain. And the market does not pay for pain. It pays for solved problems. There is a difference between being underestimated and being unproven. Being underestimated means the world is wrong about your ability. Being unproven means the world has not yet been given enough evidence to update its judgment. The first one may make you angry. The second one should make you disciplined. And discipline begins when you stop asking, "Why do they not believe in me?" and start asking, "What have I built that makes belief unnecessary?" According to Harvard Business Review's explanation of the lean startup method, startups should search for a business model by testing, revising, gathering customer feedback, and iterating instead of hiding behind fixed plans. That matters because most men do the opposite. They begin with identity. They say, "I am a founder." They say, "I am building something big." They say, "People will understand later." But they do not test. They do not sell. They do not gather customer feedback. They do not let reality correct them early. They protect the fantasy because the fantasy still makes them feel powerful. CB Insight's startup failure analysis found that running out of capital often appears as the final cause of death. But deeper issues include weak unit economics, market problems, timing, and model failure. In simple terms, many businesses do not die because the founder lacked motivation. They die because the founder stayed loyal to an untested idea longer than his cash could survive. So the real question is not, "Can I feel confident?" The real question is, "Can I test reality before reality bankrupts me?" That is the founder's question. That is the operator's question. That is the question a man asks when he is done needing applause. Because if you ignore this, you lose money, you lose time, you lose status, you lose self-trust. You lose the ability to look yourself in the mirror and believe your own words. And worse, you may become the man who uses other people's doubt as a permanent excuse. That is the hidden danger. Doubt feels useful because it gives your failure an enemy. It lets you say, "I would have built it if they supported me." It lets you protect your ego from the colder possibility that you did not build enough proof. But business does not care about the emotional story behind your delay. The market does not ask who believed in you. The market asks what problem you solve, who urgently wants it solved, how clearly you can offer the solution, and whether someone is willing to pay. Jeff Bezos did not start Amazon as the empire people see today. Amazon's own early press materials show that in 1995, it opened as an online bookstore with more than 1 million titles. In its first 4 weeks, it shipped books to customers in all 50 United States and more than 45 countries. Amazon also describes the company's early office as the garage, where Bezos started the company in 1994. Forbes lists Bezos as a billionaire tied to Amazon. Look at the mechanism. The pressure was real. He left a prestigious path and entered uncertainty. The action was narrow. He did not begin by selling everything. He chose books, a category where online selection created a clear advantage. The first proof was measurable. Orders shipped across states and countries. The power lesson is simple. Start narrow enough to prove demand. Expand only after the market confirms the machine. Most men want the empire before the proof. They want the brand before the buyer. They want the identity of a founder before the discipline of an operator. That is why they stay stuck. A man says, "I want to start a business." Then he spends weeks choosing a logo. Then he changes the name. Then he watches more videos. Then he looks for the perfect tool. Then he waits for confidence. Then he announces the idea to people who were never going to understand it. They doubt him. He feels wounded. Then he delays. And because delay feels safer than rejection, he calls it preparation. This is how a man can lose a year and still have nothing to show. A logo cannot reject you. A buyer can. A website cannot tell you your offer is vague. The market can. A course cannot expose whether your promise matters. A prospect can. That is why most men hide in preparation. Preparation gives them the feeling of progress without the humiliation of being judged by reality. But a business is not born when you feel ready. A business begins when the market responds. Machiavelli warned that new orders create resistance because people rarely believe new things until they experience them. That is the founder's problem. Not everyone will believe your new direction at the beginning. They cannot. They are still judging you through old evidence. Your family sees your past. Your friends see your current rank. Your environment sees your old habits. The market sees nothing until you put proof in front of it. This is why Howard Schultz matters. Schultz joined Starbucks in 1982, became inspired by Italian coffee bars, left to start Il Giornale in 1985, and later returned in 1987 to purchase Starbucks with local investors. Starbucks' own history confirms this sequence. Forbes identifies Schultz as a Starbucks billionaire. The pressure was simple. His vision for the coffeehouse experience did not fit the old model. The action was stronger than argument. He built his own proof instead of explaining forever. The first proof was not a motivational speech. It was Il Giornale existing as a working cafe concept. The power lesson is this: if the room rejects your vision, build a smaller room where the vision can prove itself. That is what unsupported men must learn. Do not beg the old order to validate the new one. Create evidence outside its permission structure. The people around you may not be against you. They may simply be loyal to the version of you they already understand. They know your past decisions. They remember your inconsistency. They remember what you announced and did not finish. They remember the times your ambition was louder than your execution. That may offend you. Good. Use the offense as data. Because if the people around you have old evidence, your job is not to hate them. Your job is to produce new evidence. Now the real work begins. Most men build in the wrong order. They chase branding before demand. They chase confidence before rejection. They chase support before proof. They chase the feeling of being a founder before doing the work of an operator. The order must be reversed. Step 1. Accept the cold diagnosis. You are not necessarily underestimated. You may simply be unproven. This is not an insult. It is liberation. Because if you are unproven, the solution is not resentment. The solution is evidence. Stop saying, "They do not see my potential." Ask, "What have I built that makes my potential visible?" No paying customer means no proof. No painful problem solved means no proof. No offer tested means no proof. No repeated execution means no proof. No documented result means no proof. That is not cruelty, that is clarity. And clarity is better than comfort because comfort lets you sleep inside the same weakness for another year. The unsupported man cannot afford emotional confusion. He cannot afford to waste months waiting for people to clap before he moves. He cannot afford invisible effort. He cannot afford vague dreams. He cannot afford to confuse intensity with progress. He needs evidence. Evidence is cold because it cannot be argued with. A customer paid or he did not. A problem was solved or it was not. An offer converted or it did not. A result was documented or it was not. A market responded or it stayed silent. This is the discipline of reality. Before you continue building anything, do this now. Write one sentence that names the proof you do not yet have. Not your dream, not your pain, not your explanation. One sentence. I do not yet have a paying customer. I do not yet have a clear offer. I do not yet have proof that this market wants what I sell. That sentence will do more for you than another hour of motivation. Because once the missing proof is named, your next action becomes obvious. Step 2. Pick a market with pain and money. A business does not begin with what you love. It begins with what someone urgently wants solved. That sentence will offend the romantic part of you. Good. The romantic part of you wants the market to reward your inner world. It wants your passion to be enough. It wants your story to matter before your solution matters. But the market does not pay for your passion. It pays for the removal of pain. Local businesses need leads. Creators need editing. Coaches need funnels. Busy professionals need systems. Small brands need content. Founders need automation. Families need convenience. Operators need time saved. But pain alone is not enough. There must be money behind it. A broke audience may love you, praise you, comment on your posts, consume your content, and tell you your idea is amazing. But if they cannot pay, they cannot build your business. Praise without payment can become a trap. It feels like validation, but it does not create oxygen. And business needs oxygen. Cash is oxygen. Leads are oxygen. Conversations are oxygen. Customers are oxygen. Distribution is oxygen. If you choose a market with pain but no money, you will become emotionally rich and financially weak. People will thank you, admire you, and still not buy. Then you will start resenting them. But the mistake was not theirs. The mistake was choosing applause over purchasing power. This is why you must search for pain with budget attached. A local gym with empty trial classes has pain. A creator drowning in raw footage has pain. A coach with traffic but no funnel has pain. A small brand posting content that creates no leads has pain. A busy professional losing hours to repeated tasks has pain. Now ask the colder question. Are they already spending money to solve it? Step 3. Study existing spending. Never build for people who only say, "That sounds interesting." Interest is cheap. Payment is expensive. Look for people already spending money on bad solutions. That is the signal. If someone is already paying an agency, a freelancer, software, ads, coaching, tools, or staff to solve the problem, the market is telling you something valuable. The pain already has a budget. Your job is not to create desire from nothing. Your job is to redirect existing desire toward a sharper solution. This is why Bezos chose books. This is why Knight sold to runners. This is why Schultz tested the cafe experience. They were not asking the universe for random belief. They were observing behavior. They found demand. They entered through a narrow door. Then they built proof. Unsupported men often make the mistake of building for imaginary admiration. They imagine people loving the brand. They imagine followers praising the vision. They imagine family finally understanding. They imagine the announcement. But imagination is not market research. Behavior is market research. Spending is market research. Complaints are market research. Bad reviews are market research. Repeated frustration is market research. If people are angry at existing solutions and still paying for them, that is a market signal. It means the pain is strong enough to survive disappointment. That is where opportunity lives, not in vague dreams. In expensive frustration. Step 4. Create one clear offer. A vague offer makes even a capable man look weak. I help businesses grow. I do marketing. I do consulting. I help people become better. Nobody pays for vague. Vague language forces the buyer to do the work your offer should have done. He has to guess who it is for, what problem it solves, what outcome it creates, why it matters, and why he should trust you. Confused people do not buy. A clear offer names the buyer, the pain, the mechanism, and the outcome. I help local gyms get 30 qualified trial leads in 30 days using short-form content and follow-up automation. Now the buyer can see himself. He can see the pain. He can see the promised result. He can understand the mechanism. He can judge whether the offer matters. Before that sentence, you had ambition. After that sentence, you have a weapon. A clear offer creates pressure because it can be tested. It can be accepted. It can be rejected. It can be improved. It can be measured. That is why men avoid clarity. Clarity exposes them. As long as your idea stays vague, you can protect your fantasy. Nobody can reject it precisely because nobody understands it. But the moment you state a clear offer, reality gets the right to answer. And that is exactly what you need. Because the first proof is not your dream. The first proof is the market response to one clear offer. But a clear offer is still worthless until a stranger risks money on it. That is where the fantasy ends. Step 5. Sell before you build big. This is the point where most men reveal whether they are building a business or protecting an identity. They say they are preparing, but they are avoiding rejection. They improve the website because the website cannot reject them. They polish the logo because the logo cannot say no. They adjust the colors because colors do not expose weakness. They study another course because knowledge feels safer than the market. They tell themselves, I just need to be ready. But readiness is often fear-wearing professional language. The market is the judge, not your mood, not your family, not your friends, not the voice in your head that tells you one more week of preparation will make you dangerous. Sell before you build big. Build only enough to test. Talk to prospects. Send outreach. Create a simple demo. Offer a pilot. Ask for a payment or a deposit. Get a yes or a no. Both are useful. A yes gives you proof. A no gives you information. Silence gives you nothing unless you study why it happened. This is where the unsupported man must become cold, not cruel. Cold. There is a difference. Cruelty attacks people. Coldness obeys reality. And reality says this: until someone pays, your business is still a theory. You may have passion, you may have talent, you may have a meaningful reason. You may have watched every video, read every book, written every plan, and imagined every future outcome. But until the market gives you a signal, you are not building from truth. You are building from projection. And projection is expensive. It will eat your time. It will eat your confidence. It will eat your savings. It will make you emotionally attached to something reality has not approved. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved. In business, do not twist this into cruelty. Understand the mechanism. Respect must be stronger than approval. You do not need the market to love your dream. You need the market to respect your value. That means your first task is not to be admired. Your first task is to be useful enough that a buyer responds. If your offer is to help local gyms get qualified trial leads, do not disappear for 3 months building a perfect brand. Find gym owners, study their current content, look at their ads, look at their reviews, look at whether their classes are full or empty. Notice where the pain is visible. Then approach them with a specific observation. Do not say, I can help your business grow. Say, I noticed your gym posts consistently, but most posts do not create a direct trial class offer. I can help you create short-form videos and follow-up messages designed to bring in qualified trial leads. I can build a small pilot around one offer, one audience, and one follow-up sequence. Now you are not begging for belief, you are bringing diagnosis. A weak man asks, can you support me? A builder asks, can I solve this measurable problem? That shift changes everything. Because the moment you sell before building big, you stop asking life to protect your ego. You ask the market to sharpen your judgment. Step 6. Over-deliver for the first few customers. Your first goal is not scale. Your first goal is undeniable proof. This is where another illusion must die. Many men want to act like chief executive officers before they have served like operators. They want systems before they understand the customer. They want automation before they understand the pain. They want leverage before they have earned trust. They want the appearance of a company before they can deliver one strong result. That is backwards. In the beginning, you are not building a machine. You are gathering intelligence. Your first customers are not just revenue. They are laboratories. They teach you what the market actually cares about. They reveal hidden objections. They show which promise matters. They expose which part of your offer is weak. They tell you what they are afraid of buying. They show you what result creates trust. They reveal the language your future market already uses. If you treat early customers as transactions, you stay average. If you treat them as laboratories, you become dangerous. Over-deliver. Answer fast. Solve deeply. Track the before and after. Ask what they tried before. Ask what frustrated them. Ask what almost stopped them from buying. Ask what result would make the investment feel obvious. Ask what would make them recommend you to another buyer. Do not over-deliver because you are desperate for approval. Over-deliver because proof compounds. One strong result can become a testimonial. One testimonial can become a case study. One case study can become a post. One post can become a lead. One lead can become another customer. One customer can become a referral. This is how a man with no network begins to build one through evidence, not by begging for access, by becoming useful in public. The unsupported man must understand this law. When you lack inherited status, visible proof becomes your substitute. You may not have a powerful family name. You may not have investors waiting. You may not have friends opening doors. You may not have a polished network. But if you can solve a painful problem, document the result, and communicate it clearly, the market begins to see you. Slowly at first, then suddenly. This is why your first few customers matter more than your first few months of branding. A brand without proof is decoration. A brand with proof is leverage. Step 7. Document everything. Unsupported men cannot afford invisible work. Read that again in your mind. Unsupported men cannot afford invisible work. When your work is invisible, the market treats it like it does not exist. When your progress is invisible, people keep judging you by old evidence. When your lessons are invisible, nobody knows you are becoming sharper. When your results are invisible, your reputation cannot compound. This is not vanity. This is reputation construction. Machiavelli's world was ruled by perception, reputation, visible force, and strategic positioning. The modern market is no different. It simply uses different tools. Today, your proof may appear through case studies, screenshots, testimonials, before and after comparisons, breakdowns, posts, videos, portfolio pieces, numbers, stories, and public lessons. But the principle is the same. Hidden value is often priced like non-existent value. You may be working hard, but if nobody sees the output, the market cannot reward it. You may be learning fast, but if nobody sees the lessons, the market cannot trust your growth. You may be getting results, but if nobody sees the evidence, the market cannot update its judgment. This is why the man who documents beats the man who only works in silence, not because he is louder, because he gives reality something to measure. Document the process. Document the lesson. Document the result. Document the mistake. Document the before and after. Document the client, objection, Document the offer test. Document the outreach result. Document what failed and what changed because of it. Turn every win into evidence. Turn every rejection into market intelligence. Turn every week into public proof that you are becoming harder to dismiss. If you helped a local gym improve its lead flow, document the problem, the action, and the result. If you helped a creator produce consistent videos, document the bottleneck and the system. If you helped a coach improve a funnel, document the weak point and the change. If you helped a small brand turn content into conversations, document the mechanism. Do not expose private plan details carelessly. Do not betray trust. Do not exaggerate. Do not invent numbers. Trust is an asset. Protect it, but make your value visible. The market does not need your entire private life. It needs proof that you can produce outcomes. There is a dangerous pride in being secretly capable. Some men are addicted to the fantasy of being hidden geniuses. They tell themselves, "I do not need to show anyone." Real work speaks for itself. Sometimes it does, often it does not. Unframed work can remain invisible. Unframed work can be credited to someone else. Unframed work can die quietly while louder, less capable men take the room. If that offends you, good. It should. Because offense without adjustment is wasted energy. You do not need to become fake. You need to become legible. You do not need to beg for attention. You need to make your value easier to recognize. Documentation is not noise when it is tied to proof. It is the public record of your competence. Step 8. Build distribution daily. No distribution, no business. You can have the best product in your city and still starve if nobody sees it. You can be skilled, honest, disciplined, and useful, and still remain poor if your value never reaches the right people. This is another hard truth. Unsupported men resist. They want the market to discover them. They want the right person to notice. They want someone to recommend them. They want quality to create visibility automatically. Sometimes quality creates word of mouth, but depending on that too early is weakness. Distribution is where hidden value becomes visible power. Choose one main channel. Cold outreach. Content. Referrals. Community. Paid ads. Marketplaces. Partnerships. Search. Do not scatter because you are impatient. Pick one channel and apply pressure until the market responds. Every day, your business needs oxygen. Leads are oxygen. Conversations are oxygen. Offers are oxygen. Follow-ups are oxygen. Distribution is oxygen. Without oxygen, even a strong offer suffocates. A skilled unknown man is still unknown. A visible operator with a clear offer has leverage. If you choose cold outreach, do it with precision. Do not spam like a desperate amateur. Study the buyer. Find the pain. Make the message specific. Offer a simple next step. If you choose content, do not post random thoughts for applause. Build around buyer pain, proof, objection handling, case studies, mechanisms, and useful diagnosis. If you choose referrals, do not vaguely ask people to send clients. Tell them exactly who you help, what problem you solve, what result you create, and what kind of person should be introduced. If you choose partnerships, do not approach people empty-handed. Bring value, bring audience insight, bring useful work. Bring proof that partnership with you lowers risk. The channel does not matter as much as the discipline. The mistake is changing channels every time discomfort appears. A man sends 10 messages, gets no response, and says cold outreach does not work. A man posts for 2 weeks, gets little attention, and says content does not work. A man asks 3 people for referrals, hears nothing, and says his network is useless. No, he has not applied enough pressure. He has not tested enough angles. He has not improved the offer enough. He has not learned the language of the buyer yet. He has not earned the right to declare the channel dead. Most men quit before the market has enough data to teach them. Do not be most men. Distribution is not a mood. It is a daily operating function. You do it when you feel powerful. You do it when you feel invisible. You do it when nobody responds. You do it when one response comes in. You do it when the first yes appears. You do it because a business without distribution is just a private hope, and private hope is not enough. Step 9. Use doubt as fuel, not identity. Their doubt is not your personality. Do not build your whole identity around being unsupported. That becomes another prison. At first, doubt can help you. It can create pressure. It can force seriousness. It can remove illusions. It can make you stop expecting rescue. But if you are not careful, doubt becomes the center of your self-image. Then you stop wanting freedom. You start wanting an audience for your wound. You talk about who did not support you. You replay old conversations. You imagine the day they regret doubting you. You feed on resentment. And while you are doing that, another man is quietly testing offers, speaking to customers, documenting results, and building distribution. He is not louder than you. He is not more dramatic than you. He is simply converting pressure into proof. That is the difference. Doubt is useful only when it becomes structure. Pressure becomes discipline. Discipline becomes skill. Skill becomes proof. Proof becomes leverage. Leverage becomes freedom. That is the transformation. That is the transformation. Not from doubted man to angry man, from doubted man to documented man, from misunderstood potential to disciplined operator with proof. You are not weak because nobody believes in you. You become weak when you need belief before you move. That is the old identity. End it. The new identity is colder. I do not need support to begin. I need a problem, an offer, a buyer, and proof. That sentence separates builders from performers. The performer wants people to understand his vision. The builder wants customers to confirm his value. The performer announces. The builder tests. The performer waits for confidence. The builder collects evidence. The performer calls doubt oppression. The builder turns doubt into structure. And this is where the unsupported man becomes dangerous. Because when a man stops asking for permission, he stops leaking power. He no longer gives his future to people who are emotionally attached to his past. He no longer needs family approval to make the first sale. He no longer needs friends to share his post before he learns distribution. He no longer needs society to recognize his potential before he becomes useful. He builds anyway, not loudly, not desperately, not to prove pain, but to create leverage. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to those who control perception, prepare before danger arrives, and act through reality rather than fantasy. For you, that means one thing: build what can be measured, sell what can be tested, document what can be believed, repeat what can be scaled, and protect your cash. Because money is not just luxury, money is oxygen. Money is oxygen. Money is optionality. Money is the ability to stay in the game long enough for skill and proof to compound. This is why protecting cash matters. A man with no support cannot spend like a man with a safety net. He cannot waste money trying to look successful before the business works. He cannot buy status symbols to cover weak proof. He cannot burn savings on unnecessary tools, branding, offices, subscriptions, and appearances. He has to survive long enough to learn. Your early money must serve the mission. Use it to test offers. Use it to reach buyers. Use it to improve delivery. Use it to buy time. Use it to protect focus. Use it to stay in the game. Because the market can teach you, but only if you do not run out of oxygen before the lesson arrives. That is why the cold path is not glamorous. It is narrow, it is repetitive, it is measurable, it is sometimes humiliating. But it works because it respects reality. Once you know that belief follows proof, the next question becomes sharper. What proof should you build first? Not all proof is equal. A logo is weak proof. A website is weak proof. A business card is weak proof. A motivational announcement is weak proof. Even followers can be weak proof if they do not create trust, leads, or money. Strong proof is different. A paying customer, a solved problem, a clear testimonial, a repeat buyer, a case study, a visible transformation, a documented process, a number that changed because of your work. That is why your next move must be small, sharp, and testable. In the next 7 days, create one offer, not 10 ideas, one offer. Choose one painful problem, choose one buyer, write one promise, find 10 people who might need it, contact them, ask questions, offer a simple result, try to get one yes. If the market rejects it, good. Now you have data. If the market responds, good. Now you have proof. Either way, you are no longer a man waiting to be believed. You are a man collecting evidence. And once you understand that, the game changes. Because the question is no longer, who supports me? The question becomes, what can I prove this week? That is the founder's question. That is the operator's question. That is the question that destroys the old need to be chosen. Belief follows proof. If nobody believes in you, stop performing pain and start producing evidence. Write down one offer you can test in the next 7 days. Do not announce it. Do not ask for approval. Do not explain it to people who cannot help you. Execute it. But understand this. Your first offer is only the beginning. The next danger is colder. How do you sell when you have no name, no network, no reputation, and no proof yet? That is where most unsupported men collapse. They finally create the offer, but then they hesitate. They fear looking small. They fear being ignored. They fear hearing no. They fear discovering that their idea is weaker than their fantasy. So they retreat back into preparation. They tell themselves they need better branding. They tell themselves they need a better audience. They tell themselves they need better timing. But the market does not reward perfect timing. It rewards the man who enters reality, learns faster than his ego wants to learn, and keeps building after the first rejection. So build the offer. Test the market. Protect your cash. Document the proof. Build distribution. And when nobody believes in you, do not argue. Do not perform pain. Do not turn doubt into identity. Let them keep their old opinion. You keep building new evidence. Because one day the conversation changes. Not because you explained better. Not because they finally understood your suffering. Not because the world became fair. The conversation changes because reality changes. The customer paid. The problem was solved. The result was documented. The offer improved. The proof became visible. The market responded. And once proof exists, belief becomes less important. You do not need everyone to believe. You need the right buyer to respond. You need the right problem to solve. You need the right evidence to build. You need the discipline to repeat what works. That is how an unsupported man becomes difficult to dismiss. That is how private ambition becomes public proof. That is how pain becomes structure. That is how solitude becomes leverage. That is how a man stops waiting for permission and starts building reality. No support, no applause, no rescue, no permission. Build anyway.